Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first round of accreditation judging with APNPI for 2025. We will be looking at 12 submissions in this round, and I have a lovely panel of judges with me today. So I'll introduce Lisa from the Milky Way from Kamloops, BC. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, thanks
Welcome
for having
back.
me.
Always. We love having you with us. Sarah Lake. Sarah is from Sarah Lake Photography in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you. Next, we have Katie Lintern from Katie Lintern Photographer out of Collingwood, Ontario. Hi, Katie.
Hi, lovely to be here.
Awesome. And last but not least, we have Amanda Capello from Capello Photography in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
All right, so we are all excitedly looking forward to moving into our accreditation judging. Our judges have had access to your submissions and have been able to review all 12 images in their high resolution state in our back end prior to today's judging. And we will first judge our images on overall submission for the galleries and then look at any images that we need to after that. So we thank all of our members who have submitted for this round of accreditation. It's a brave move, and we always commend you when you're willing to put yourself out there for critique. And we wish everyone the best and hope that we all learn something today together. All right, heading into our first accreditation, maker number 1. This accreditation is in the category of maternity and is a new submission. All right, and our judges can enter their scores. And with 3 scores of accepted, this submission will have an overall score of accepted. Congratulations to this maker on achieving their accreditation in the category of maternity. All right, moving to our next maker. And this will be in the category of natural unposed newborn. So we'll have our overall gallery here, and we'll give our judges a moment to enter their scores. And we have 2 scores of accepted with merit and 1 score of accepted. Congratulations to this maker. That's an excellent overall score. So overall, your submission will be accepted in this category. Congratulations. Let's go to Amanda, please. You scored this accepted with merit. Can you give some feedback to the maker on which images you feel might do well in image competition?
Sure. I think I was just looking as like an overall collection of images. Like I personally work with all whites as well, and working between session to session and getting the whites to be so cohesive is impressive. And the posing, like I think is super natural and just really nice. The moments captured here and the textures of the different little blankets being used. I don't know if there's maybe any one that stands out to me. I just really like the collection of images altogether, but maybe, gosh, I mean, they're all very cute, but the one of the little baby smiling with the onesie and the little blanket that he's laying on, the sleepy little baby right next to it. The sibling one is a great moment captured, which a lot of times that will score well because there's like connection and emotion to the image. I love the one of the mom and the dad kissing her head. I just say as a collection, like these are very nice images, but I'd say those maybe 3 or 4 stand out the most to me.
Thank you. That's great. And Katie, the same. You've accepted with merit. Are there any images here that you would suggest that the maker submit for image competition?
Yes, actually, I was looking at image 12. That's the one that popped out to me first. It's not often that you catch babies with their eyes open, and it's so, um, there's just an instant connection with the viewer, and this is really well done. You can see connection with, I'm assuming, dad's hands there. So just, that one would just kind of strike me immediately. So I think that's a good candidate for competition. And I agree with Amanda, really cohesive gallery. So you could probably try any one of these, but for me, it's 12 and then maybe even number 1, just a beautifully executed image too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, congratulations to this maker. We love seeing our natural unposed newborn come through. It's not as popular of a category, but so beautifully handled here. It's an excellent example of this category. So thank you again. All right, moving to our next submission. This is maker number 3, and we are looking at an accreditation in the category of maternity. And this is a new submission. All right, and judges, you can take a moment to enter your scores. And with scores of accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this gallery is currently not accepted overall. Let's go to Amanda, please. Are there more than 5 or 5 or less images that you would like to review?
Sorry, let me just take a closer look. It's cutting it close.
And Katie, more than 5 or 5 or fewer?
I would say more than 5 for me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will head into each individual image. And so please go ahead and hit next in your prompts. And judges, you can enter your scores on image number 1. All right, and with 2 scores of accepted and 1 score of not accepted, this image is currently accepted.
I'd like to challenge this image.
Okay, no problem. We will head in the benefit of the maker first, please, and let's hear from Lisa.
Hi. Okay. So I think technically, I think we're doing really quite well here. We've got some really good skin tone. Um, the pose, we've got our front leg pop, so we're looking good there. I can see why it would not be with merit because there are a few little areas that I would fix, but for me, it wasn't to the amount that I would not accept it.
All right, thank you. And we will go to Amanda, please, for critique.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying with there are some things that are favorable. I think overall there's some maybe banding or spotting issues in the top right corner with like some orangey hues coming through. Overall, the white balance is slightly off in my opinion. The bottom of the image isn't quite white, and then the dress appears very blue as a result. And the skin tone to me is looking a little bit orange, and so is the backdrop. Just in general. So I think maybe just some white balance issues, and that banding in the top right is what made me choose not accepted for this image.
Thank you, Amanda. We'll head back to Lisa for rebuttal, please.
I can definitely see Amanda's point of view there. I didn't see that top corner there when I first saw it. And I do agree with the different colors in the white. It does throw the image a little bit. And I do find it to be a hair on the warm side. But for me, I think technically, I think we're so close. We're so close that I would probably say I would accept it. I wouldn't accept it with merit, but I would accept this image.
All right, and we will rescore at this point. Let's. All right. And with scores of accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this image will not be accepted at this time. Great feedback there. Moving to image number 2, and I'll ask our judges to enter their scores now. All right, if all of our judges can just resave their scores one more time. All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Katie, let's go to you, please, for some critique for this maker.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a beautiful mom and a lovely pose. My only critique here would be just to when you're photographing on a black backdrop, or even if it's a dark gray and you're pulling mom away from the backdrop so it looks black and she's wearing a black dress or a black bodysuit, it's very difficult to see her shape. So the black kind of blends into the black and you don't actually know where her belly is. One of the key features of maternity photography is you want to be able to showcase the belly. And I'm just not seeing the edge there. So I would just work on the lighting of this. It's certainly possible to photograph black on black like that. But you will need to use your lighting in such a way as you can still see her shape. So yeah, but otherwise a really, really pretty pose. Yeah, you're almost there.
Thank you. We'll head back to our gallery and look at image number 3. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores when ready. All right, and with 3 scores of accepted, this image will be accepted. And we'll move to image number 4. Judges, please feel free to enter your scores. All right, and we have 2 scores of not accepted and 1 score of accepted. So currently the image is not accepted. Okay, without a challenge, this image will not be accepted. Lisa, can I go to you for some critique for the maker, please?
Absolutely. I think this is a really beautiful image showing some wonderful connection, but technically I'm finding that we've got some hot spots. We've got some hot spots and blown areas on the dad's face, on the dress, on mom's arm. So for me, that wouldn't be able to score as high as 75. So for that reason, I had to not accept it.
Thank you. All right, moving to image number 5. And judges, when you're ready, please feel free to enter your scores. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Amanda, can you provide feedback for the maker, please?
Sure thing. I think in this image, I mean, obviously, sweet little baby snuggling their mom, but overall, I think the pose for the mom isn't super flattering. The knee is missing like a leg to it, so it almost looks like she has one leg. And I do also see, well, it's hard to see her belly as well. Like to me, not quite popping out as a maternity image to me. I obviously she's pregnant, but the knee is kind of overshadowing the belly here. And then I also see some banding issues in the backdrop, specifically kind of like curving around mom's shoulder and then on the other side of her head and behind the girl's head, maybe some cloning hair flyaways that it's kind of like blurred out a little bit. So just those things I think are what took me away from not being able to mark it as accepted.
All right, thank you. And we will look at image number 6. And with scores of not accepted, accepted, and accepted, this image will currently be accepted. All right, and without a challenge, the image has been accepted. Moving to image number 7. All right, I will ask all of our judges to please try to save your score again. Or is there anyone that needs additional time? Okay, and with 2 scores of accepted, 1 score of not accepted, this image is currently accepted. Okay, and without a challenge, the image will be accepted for accreditation. Moving to image number 8. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores. Okay. All right, we have 3 scores of accepted, and this image will be accepted for accreditation. We'll move now to image number 9. And does anyone need additional time for scoring?
Just want to add a little comment for this maker. So I'm almost done.
No problem.
Sorry, all done.
Thank you. All right, with scores of accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this image will not be accepted overall at present. All right, and without a challenge, this image will not be accepted for accreditation. Moving to image number 10. And with 3 scores of accepted, this image will be accepted for accreditation. Moving to image number 11. All right, do any of our judges require additional time?
Yeah, just me, sorry.
All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted for accreditation at this time. Lastly, looking at image number 12. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted for accreditation at this time. All right, so overall 5 images selected for accreditation in this round, which is a very good result actually. And I think that if I may comment on behalf of some of our judges, this submission is so close to accreditation standard. And I think with a few changes, that this submission will go through. I do realize that I think that we left images number 11 and 12 without critique for the maker, possibly 9 as well. So we will go back and ask for some critique for the maker for these images. So for image number 9, can I please hear from Katie, critique for this maker?
Yes, absolutely. It's very small things for me. You can see that the backdrop has been smoothed, but if you look really close on her leg, just at the bottom on the one side of her leg, and then between her and the fabric, you can see there is still imperfections in the backdrop that haven't been taken care of. So it's just some really small attention to detail like that. I mean, it's a really beautiful image. Mom is gorgeous. The pose, for me, the pose is almost there. But that's just personal preference. But there's also a little bit of use of liquify on the right, on the fabric. And to me, it's a little obvious. So I would just pull back on that a little bit. Yeah. And then just a little bit of, I don't know how to say it, moire on the dress. Am I pronouncing that correctly? No, I'm not sure if everyone is seeing that on the belly, where you can see kind of this banding on the belly, on the dress of the belly.
Yes, I can see that too. I
Yeah,
agree.
I see that. That's why I marked it as well as the other comments that you made.
Yeah, that would be the three things that popped out at me when I was looking at this image. But again, this image is so close, right? That would be the 3 areas that I would just pay attention to, that these little details, because they do count. So yeah, but otherwise really pretty, really pretty.
Thank you so much for commentary. I do just want to say one comment. It is likely that it is liquefy, but without knowing what technique that the maker has used, we can't assume. So we would say like it looks as though there's been liquefy used on the fabric on the right-hand side of the image. Perhaps it's someone else that's holding the edge of the fabric. So we just don't want to assume that that is what has been done in post-processing. But I think you're likely correct, and you've given a great suggestion for how to deal with that. Okay. Moving to image number 11, and let's hear please from Lisa, commentary for this maker.
All right. So, first of all, I think they've done a really beautiful job when it comes to lighting. Working with yellows, especially this bright color, is so hard. And we have so much in the way of color cast all over mom's arm and face and belly and shoulder. So, I probably would have removed that in post processing just to even out that skin tone so we don't have quite as much yellow. There's also down on the bottom, we've got some missed areas of, I don't know if it's banding or if it's just not as white as the rest of the backdrop. And I think in the upper right corner as well, those would be areas that, you may want to use curves on, brighten up, just so the overall image is white and cohesive. So for those reasons, I was not able to pass it. I really like the concept of the sari trailing off. I think that's really, really interesting and visually appealing. So I think we're getting close, but for those reasons, I just couldn't pass it.
Thank you, Lisa. And lastly, we'll move to image number 12. Oh. And let's head please to Katie for feedback.
Yeah, again, a beautiful mom. And like I love seeing happy, smiling moms in photos, because a lot of times they can be a little bit more subdued, their expressions. I also really appreciate the innovation in this particular image, because it's, again, she's not in a dress. kind of standing and looking sideways. She's doing something. It obviously represents the mom herself and how she's active. Um, my issue, there's a couple of little things here. I think that the pose to me is a little bit unflattering. Again, just kind of facing directly to the camera and, legs open. I wouldn't have posed her that way. I would maybe just work on the posing a little bit. Yeah, and just little details, like you can see the yoga mat is kind of bent on the left hand side. So you can absolutely do these sorts of environmental kind of portraits, but I would just pay very close attention to all the details that are in there and then the posing as well. That would be my feedback.
Thank you. I think that's great feedback for this maker. All right. And we will just take a quick break now before heading to our next maker. Okay, so Amanda is currently on break now, and we are welcoming Sarah to our judging panel. Moving to maker number 4, this accreditation is in the category of maternity, and we'll have a look at our gallery. This is a resubmission. So currently we are looking at images number 1, 3, 4, 6, 9, 11, and 12. And so we will be judging based on those images alone when we are looking at this overall gallery judging. And as well, they are, in my opinion, quite cohesive with the images that have already come through, but just for our viewers at home, to know that when we're looking for cohesion in our gallery of images, we don't penalize when we are resubmitting. So the previously submitted images need not be cohesive with the newly submitted images. We do want to give room for growth for our makers. Sometimes our makers come back, a year away, or with a 2-year spread. And of course, your style can, evolve and mature in that time, as well as your technique. And so the cohesion we're looking for is only between the images that are newly submitted for this round. Images number 1, 3, 4, 6, 9, 11, and 12. All right. So judges, please feel free to enter your overall scores.
Hey, Steph, can I ask a question?
Yep,
Can we pause?
of course. All right, and we have 2 scores of not accepted, 1 score of accepted. Lisa, of the resubmitted images, are there more than 5 or more that you'd like to see? Sorry, I don't think we heard a response if you gave one.
Sorry,
Can you?
I was on the wrong tab.
Okay.
I think number 3, number 4, and I'd like to look at just a little closer at number 6.
Okay, 3, 4, and 6. All right. And Katie, are there any other images other than 3, 4, and 6 that you would like to review from the newly submitted?
No, for me, those were actually the ones that I was thinking of as well.
All right, so we will head into image number 3 at this time. And I would ask all the judges to please go ahead and score this image. And once your scores are in, please just make sure to click that saved prompt. Amazing. All right, and we have 3 scores of not accepted here on this image. Sarah, let's go to you, please, for critique for this maker.
Sure. This image I thought was it was really, really difficult to score. I felt that just the skin tones, I think, and the touch that you see that you're sort of drawn into between mom and dad, it's really, really beautiful. I think the skin tones are perfect here. But what's really holding it back, I think, is the fact that we only can just barely tell that there's a belly there, that there are arms sort of hugging it, because we just see a tiny hint of the lace of the dress, but all around the image on the left side, the shadows are clipped. So I really had gone back and forth on this, whether to accept it, because again, it feels, it has this really lovely feeling to it, but from a technical standpoint, I think it's the clipped shadows and the lack of definition around the image and in kind of adding to the story that's really holding it back.
Thank you. I definitely see that what you're saying here, and I wanted to just mention this is another submission. So we had a previous submission with clipped blacks as well. Do any of our judges have any input for makers on how to correct this with your lighting? So what type of strategy or technique can they utilize in order to create that separation between the subject and the black backdrop when they are both in black? Does anyone have any recommendations regarding lighting technique?
There's, I mean, I can give a little bit of a tip here. It depends on obviously what you're going for, but you can always add a secondary light source to kind of add some room lighting or just to light from the back a little bit. And you know, the other approach, if you only have access to one light, is actually, you know, maybe lower the power of your light if you are indeed using a studio light, but then oh my gosh, ISO. I'm blanking here on the terms, but just so that you can actually get more, you can bring up the shadows in your image a little bit right to start. So those would be
Wonderful.
my 2 tips there.
Yeah, thank you. Previously, when I was using natural light in studio, I used to use a technique to flag the light source. So I would actually bring in a blackout curtain and pull that. So I'd separate my subject from the background by standing them further in front of that background. And then I would pull that blackout curtain up until just behind my subject so that the natural light was falling more so on the subjects than on the background, the backdrop, which would lead, you know, the subjects to be a bit brighter and the backdrop to be darker. So that helped to create a little bit of separation there too. And you can use that same strategy, pulling 2 blackout curtains to just give you a tiny stream of light coming in and place your subject to rim light the back of the belly as well. So those are techniques you can use with natural light also. And then also, I guess there are some post-processing tips and tricks that you can use to help to create that definition between your subject and the background. But I always find, you know, if you can fix it in camera, try for that first. It takes less time. So thank you so much for your suggestions. I think that's very helpful for our makers. All right, let's move back to our gallery and we'll look at image number 4. And go ahead and enter your scores, please. And do any of our judges require additional time? If not, you may need to just click the saved prompt again, please. Oh, wonderful. And we have 3 scores of not accepted on this image, so this image will not be accepted. Lisa, let's head to you, please, for some feedback for the maker.
Absolutely. Now, first of all, I love the connection that we've got with the couple here. It's beautiful to get dads involved with their sessions too. The issues that I'm noticing have more to do with lighting. We've got some blown hot spots and blown highlights on from my angle on the belly, on the shirt. Um, and so it's just for those reasons I couldn't pass it through. I do struggle also a bit with the pose. I would have liked to see mom's, I guess, left leg crossed over and maybe just her hips tilted forward, just because the belly seems to get lost a little bit with her hips there with this pose. And we kind of had a little bit of a ghost hand because we can't see the entire hand on the back of dad's back. Either I would just place it beside or I'd place it around so you can see the whole hand. But the way that it's sitting right there, you're not really sure what it is, and it sort of looks like a hand stump. So as far as posing, just always being aware of sort of the ghost hands that can appear behind, and just watching for that. So for those reasons, I couldn't pass it through, but I do think this maker is definitely on the right track.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Just a quick aside, in terms of the blowouts on the white shirt, it can sometimes be difficult to style, darker colors with such bright tones. So I think, because mom's in black and the backdrop is also quite dark, the contrast between that and the bright white makes it difficult to manage the blowouts, which sometimes you can pull back in post-processing, but again, very easy to switch out that shirt. Charcoal gray, anything in a middle tone would have worked really nicely here, and because the lighting is perhaps could have been pulled down a little bit, but yeah, it's always going to be difficult to light a dark backdrop with such a high contrast in the selection of the shirt here. All right, great suggestions as well for posing. Let's move to image number 6, please, and our judges can input their scores. All right, and just and with 1 score of not accepted and 2 scores of accepted, this image will be accepted at this time.
I won't challenge, but can I offer some feedback?
Yes, please. All
Okay,
right,
so
Lisa,
I
go
think
ahead.
I think this is an absolutely beautiful image, and the lighting is absolutely gorgeous. What I'm losing is about half the image, the detail on the left-hand side. And so I just really want the maker to watch those clipped, oh gosh, sorry, shadows, or clipped shadows. I had a brain fart there. Just watching that side there, because we're losing a lot of detail in that area there. So just being mindful of, like, maybe when you're in ACR and you're in Lightroom, just making sure that you have that on, because I would not be surprised if we've got the blue clip warning there, just showing that we've got some clipping happening. Other than that, you have done an excellent job. I love the regalness of this image, and your lighting here is lovely.
Thank you so much. All right. And so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 5 of 7 of the resubmitted images moving forward. Congratulations to this maker, and thank you for coming back to resubmit. I think that is a really great result with only 2 images remaining. We hope to see you back again and hope that the critique that's been presented will be helpful for you on your journey. All right, we'll move to our next submission, this one in the category of family and baby. And I'll let our judges have a view of our overall gallery.
Steph, may I ask a question?
Of course. All right, so Lisa had just asked a question whether there were any SOOC images submitted with this accreditation, in particular for images number 9 and 11. And no, there are no SOOC images that have been submitted at this time. Okay, and we have 3 scores of not accepted at this time. Lisa, can I ask you, are there more than 5, 5 or more, or less than 5 images?
There's less than 5.
Okay, which numbers for you?
I have numbers 6, 7, 9, and 11.
6, 7, 9, 11. Okay, and Sarah, so far we've identified 6, 7, 9, and 11. Are there any you would like to add to review?
No, ma'am, just 9 and 11 for me.
For you, thank you. And Katie, any
Um,
additional?
Yeah, sorry, I think mine were, hopefully I'm keeping track here. I think I'm adding number 2 to the review here, but I agree with the others as well.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we'll head into number 2 and ask for our judges' scores, please. Okay, and do our judges require additional time? No, okay. And with 2 scores of accepted, 1 score of not accepted, this image will currently be accepted.
Sorry, I'm not going to challenge this one either because I think it's pretty much all there. I just wanted to add some feedback, if that's
Absolutely.
okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Maybe it's on my screen, but brother's shirt looks like it has blown highlights. Are you seeing that as well, or is it just my screen?
And I'll check in the high resolution just a moment. close when pulling up the histogram, but no.
Okay. Yeah, it might be just my screen then. Yeah, that was one of the main things that popped out at me. So perhaps it's just what I'm seeing here on my screen.
Yep.
And then just a very, very small thing, but because everyone is upright and baby is almost entirely horizontal, my feedback would be just to bring baby up on mom's shoulder a little bit, just so she's a little bit more upright.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then otherwise, possibly just lift that light source just a touch higher. And I don't know, again, I'm only making assumptions here that, if the maker has limitations in terms of ceiling height for that studio light, or what it looks like to be studio light, then maybe that's not possible. But if it is possible, just to lift that light source up just a little bit.
Great suggestions. I've also seen the suggestion to provide stools if you do have limited ceiling height in order to create the correct angle for especially our tall dads. If you grab two stools and replicate this type of setup, but in sitting with knees facing each other, it can be difficult to get them close enough, but yeah, that's another suggestion for how to remedy if your ceilings are limiting you in terms of height. Thank you so much for that feedback and congratulations to the maker on this image passing. We'll return to the gallery and head into image number 6. All right, looking here at the informal portrait of two parents and a newborn. And I'll give our judges a moment to enter their scores. And do any of our judges require extra time?
Actually, Stephanie, can I ask a question about the file?
Of Sorry, we just had a question about focus on the image and checking the high resolution file. The focus is acceptable for this image. All right, and with scores of not accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this image will not be accepted at this time. Let's head to Katie, please, for feedback.
Yes, so it's a beautiful moment of connection. I actually quite like the pose, and the parents or the whole family is centered, so that's really great. Nice neutral backdrop. So yeah, everything looks good to me not front. However, the only thing that I couldn't not see is it looks like it's not a fully finished edit job. Like there's wrinkles in the backdrop or the floor drop on the left hand side and a little bit on the right hand side. So I would just pay attention to those little details to finish out your image. And then finally, again, this is a difficult thing to achieve when you have your subjects wearing white, um, because the white will grab the light first. And so I would bring up the exposure on their faces a little bit more and try to tone down, especially dad's shirt, because that's where my eyes went to dad's shirt, especially the back of dad's shirt, and not baby's face, which is kind of where it should go. So that would be my feedback.
Yes, thank you. I do agree. I think if that light had been, brought around more to the front of the subjects, maybe there would be less issue, but also considering, even though the backdrop is a middle tone, it's not too dark to pair with white, but it can be much easier if perhaps they were styled in like an oatmeal colored shirt. We can't always control, but sometimes we can have items available in the studio setting. And yeah, something in a more middle tone or a slightly less bright than pure white shirt can help with that. Thank you so much for that feedback. Let's head back to the gallery. We'll look at image number 7. All right, and just looking for our judges' scores. And with scores of not accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this image will not be accepted at this time. Let's go to Sarah, please, for feedback.
Okay, thank you. Um, the first thing I noticed that I thought was really lovely was sort of the complementary colors of the teal and the purple. I think it's quite bright and vivid, but I think it works well. It's really, really pretty. I think the pose is sweet, and the light on mom's face and baby's face is really lovely. And she has just such a beautiful, gentle smile. It's really sweet. I was really torn on this because I think it's so close to passing. I really do. I do notice that baby's skin looks quite pale and kind of cool. However, mom's skin is clearly, sort of deeper in olive tone. It simply may be baby skin tone, but it is also, it could be something that could be remedied a little bit in post-processing, just for there to be less of a stark contrast between mom's face and baby's face, and at least the tones in it. And it really wasn't until I looked closely that I did see quite a lot of banding happening in the backdrop. There is some on the left and some on the right as well, sort of, kind of pixelated banding that I think is really holding it back. But those are, in my opinion, quite minor fixes, but I think it would do a lot to improve the image. And because again, it really is it's a lovely moment and a really sweet expression. And I think a really, really interesting, bold color choice.
Yeah, that's wonderful feedback, Sarah. I would agree. One of the things too that I know some people are very loyal to the real to life skin tones of their subjects and don't feel that it's appropriate to change them. So one of the tricks that you could use, and again, only so much is under your own control, but is that the purples is a bit more warm than the teal color. The teal color is actually quite a cool tone. So if you know that you have subjects with two differing skin tones, one being in more of a warmer tone and one in a cooler tone, putting the baby in a warmer tone may have helped to warm up the skin tones a bit more. Dressing them in the cool tone with this cooler skin tone can kind of exacerbate that difference between your subjects. Okay. Great feedback. We will now head into image number 9. And I will ask for our judges to score this, please. And with scores of not accepted, not accepted, and not accepted, this image will not be accepted in this round of accreditation. Lisa, can I please head to you for some feedback?
Absolutely. I think what we would really hope to be seeing is an SOOC of this so we can see that this is being done safely with a spotter. When babies are lying on their backs, it's so unpredictable. It's unpredictable with little toddlers. And even though this kid is a little bit older, we always have to err on the side of the caution that our safety measures are being followed. So I would love to see this resubmitted maybe with the SOOC so we can pass it through.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, that's an extremely important point, and thank you for bringing that up. All right, heading back in, and we'll look at image number 11. All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. We will head to Katie, please, for feedback.
Yeah, this is another sweet image of older sister with her two younger sisters. Yeah, it's really for me. It is just seeing that straight out of camera image. I would like to see a spotter there really close because not only is it an older sibling with a baby, it's an older sibling with two babies. So things can get even more unpredictable. So yeah, definitely just a safety thing that we need to see to pass that image. And then my only other bit of feedback is the baby on the right, because her little legs are out. There, to me, the skin tone looks a little bit pale and just a little cool. So again, I know we've talked about skin tones, so it's up to you whether you keep skin tones exactly as they are, but they do look a little cool compared to everything else.
And thank you so much, Katie. Again, really, really important that we have those SOCs for these types of images. So thank you again, Katie, for bringing that up and making sure that safety is at the forefront. We really appreciate that from our judging panel as well. All right, so overall, the submission will not go through today. However, I think 8 of the 12 images have passed for accreditation, which is wonderful. And we would invite this maker to come back and resubmit again in another future round, and would love to see your progress that you make based on the commentary. We hope you find it valuable. All right, we'll take a quick break. Okay, welcoming back Amanda to our judging panel. Katie is now on a break, and we're moving to maker number 6 in the category of maternity. And this will be a new submission. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores.
Actually, Stephanie, I am not showing the scoring button here for some reason now.
Oh, all right, let's pause and we'll fix that. All right, we've got that all fixed up, so. All right, and with scores of accepted, accepted with merit, and accepted with merit, this submission will be accepted for accreditation. I see here we have several accepted with merit. Amanda, would you like to speak a little bit about the submission and if there's any images that you would recommend they submit for image competition?
Sure. I think overall this maker has a strong knowledge of, lighting and posing and really capturing those moments, those joyful moments. In particular, I love the bokeh, the one, sorry, let me figure out which number it is. I think it's image number 11. So I love kind of like shooting through the lights or whatever they were using to kind of produce that glow, and just kind of how it, I guess, frames the mama there. So I just really love that. I think that's pretty. But yeah, just overall, the edits and the color tones. I also love number 1 too, the composition and framing on that, and the flowers, and also how the mama's in the arch. Yeah, I think there's some really great concepts here.
Thank you so much. And Sarah, you also accepted this submission with merit. Are there any images that you would recommend for image competition or comments that you would like to make?
Well, overall, I agree with Amanda that the use of light is stunning on all of them, and all of the color tones are beautiful. And this maker just has an exceptionally she's exceptionally, or he is very skilled with skin tones and rendering skin tones really, really beautifully. I agree. Image number 11, there is just something about it. That the way the light is skimming over the subject's nose and her lips and her cheeks, and even the sweater, which is, sort of kind of got a funky vibe to it. There's something so interesting about it with this beautiful sort of light um, surrounding, with the bokeh and the sort of just, yeah, that beautiful haze. Even that just makes a really interesting photo. I also particularly love image number 5 with the little girl. But I'm always drawn to littles like that. That's my favorite thing to shoot is children. And that is just the way mom's hair is blowing. And it almost looks like she just kind of ran up to mom and just hugged her. And I can almost hear her giggling, and the beautiful light, and the way the mom's hair is blowing and her dress is kind of, it's just really beautifully done. And like, you can't help but smile. And I think that's what makes it so strong. And I think this would do really well in a competition.
I would agree. Thank you so much, ladies. I also love the perspective of image number, I think it's 9. This one here. It's a little bit more rare. You don't see it as much, but I love that, she's doing something different here in terms of the framing of the subject and the perspective that you're seeing here. But lovely, lovely commentary, a very strong submission. Congratulations to this maker for this submission and achieving accreditation in the maternity category. And we'll move to submission number 7. We are now in the category of newborn posed. And this is a new submission. I will wait for our judges to enter their overall scores.
So can I just ask a question if there's any SOCs submitted?
Of course. Unfortunately not. I don't see any available in the submission. All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, the submission will not be accepted at this time. Lisa, are there 5 or more or less than 5 images?
I have less than 5. I'm specifically looking at number 11,
Mhm.
and I think possibly number 1, 2, 3, 7, I believe.
7 and 11, thank you. Amanda, are there any additional images you would like to add?
I think those are the same ones for me as well.
Thank you. And Sarah, for yourself, we have 7 and 11. Are there any additional?
No, actually not at this time, the same ones.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll head into image number 7 and individually score this image. And here we have 3 scores of not accepted. And I'll head to Lisa, please.
Absolutely. Technically, this is absolutely gorgeous. It's an incredible pose. This is so hard to with twins, and I think I can't speak for all of the judges, but for what I'm seeing, I need to see that SOOC that we're doing this safely. Other than that, you have nailed this pose. So if I think if this maker were to resubmit just showing an SOOC, I think it would pass.
Thank you, Lisa. And just heading to Amanda and Sarah, are you in agreement on this image?
Absolutely. That is really the only thing I think holding me back is just knowing that it was achieved safely. But this is beautifully captured, and I really do hope that they can submit those images because I think this definitely would pass.
Okay, thank you so much. So in this case, we will go back to this maker and ask for an SOOC for this setup. If it can be provided and shown that this was completed safely, then this image would pass for accreditation in this round. Okay, let's return to our gallery and image number 11. And again, with 3 scores of not accepted, this image currently will not be accepted for accreditation. Let's head to Sarah, please, for critique.
Sure, thank you. I think if we were to look just looking at the baby first, I think there couldn't be a more exquisite lighting of her face. Her skin tones are gorgeous. The lighting on her face is beautiful. She looks comfortable there. So that is really so beautifully done. Unfortunately, without having that straight out of camera shot showing that this was a composite and that baby was spotted the entire time, because this is a scenario in which she could very easily roll off one way or another. That is really the only thing, I think the biggest thing I should say, holding me back from being able to accept this for accreditation. I would love to add one other thing that I think would really elevate this image. And again, I'm crossing fingers that they do have that SOC to submit with this. For me, seeing the crooked horizon line, if you call the floor drop or the backdrop crooked or a horizon, seeing that line going downward makes it feel, to me as a viewer, makes it feel off, makes it feel unbalanced. And I think evening that out would help significantly with the overall feel of the image, as well as addressing the very cool, almost bluish tones in the floor. So again, her skin is so beautifully rendered here, and the light is so pretty, and the pinks are really lovely, that really those blue tones, cool tones in the floor and wall drop are, to me, sort of fighting with the other colors in the image. And I think if that were addressed along with the horizon line and hopefully, giving that SOC, this would just be absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Are the other judges in agreement that with an SOOC, this would pass for accreditation?
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
Okay, same thing. We'll go back to the maker in this case. Um, And in terms of the horizon line, I agree definitely, Sarah. One thing that I used to like to do is to pull the baby forward on the, like to set up at the very front of your floor drop. And so then you're moving your horizon line, further up in the frame, which sometimes you can eliminate it entirely with the focus, like if your floor is long enough. If you have that space in order to set up, then you get that lovely floor fade that just is almost like your blankets on your beanbag setup where you don't have to deal with horizon lines in the backdrop. So just, something that you maybe can explore depending on the space you have available and the depth of that floor drop there for future. But thank you so much for the feedback on this. I think that's some great suggestions for this maker. And so right now we have 10 of the 12 images accepted for accreditation, potential for 12 if we do have SOOCs for those images that can demonstrate safety practices in place. So congratulations to this maker. All right, we will move to maker number 8, and this is an accreditation in the category of maternity. And it is a new submission.
Steph, before I judge, can I just get a closer look at the number 4?
Of course.
I was so close on this one, number 4. So I would love to hear from the other judges if their opinions on it.
Yeah, I just want to read out that we have 1 score of not accepted and 2 scores of accepted on the overall here. Um, Lisa is number 4. Do you have any other images you would like to view other than number 4?
No, it was just specifically number 4. So I'm
Okay.
so on the fence with it. So I would love to get the input of the other.
Yeah, let's head in and we'll do we'll judge it in individual scores. So I'll encourage our judges to enter their scores now. All right, we're checking in the high resolution file for banding as well as skin tonality. And so we have 3 scores of accepted, and this image will be accepted for accreditation. And so that would mean that this submission has been accepted for accreditation. So congratulations to this maker on a successful accreditation in the maternity category. All right, moving to our next accreditation for maker number 9, and this one is in the category of family and baby. So we will wait for our overall scores on the gallery.
Steph, was there any SOOCs given as well?
No SOOCs for this submission. All right, so we do have 3 scores of not accepted. We did pause for a moment to have a discussion around this submission. It was determined that we are meant to have 12 images submitted from 12 separate sessions. And in particular, there are a couple of families that have been repeated in the submission that show up in several images within one submission. And furthermore, some of the images submitted don't meet the criteria for that specific image. So for example, image number 3 is meant to be a full-length portrait, which would encompass the entire length of the subject's bodies, so does not meet that criteria. Our close-up image as well, image number 1, could be cropped in a little bit closer. I think you could argue that that could be done. However, we will need to go back to this maker to discuss variety in the submission. So we do require 12 images from 12 different sessions. And then if they can replace the images that just aren't meeting the criteria. So for example, number 3, number 1, and number 4, which is meant to be a family of 5 or more. So those ones are not meeting those criteria at this time. So we would encourage this maker to definitely submit again in future, meeting the requirements for the accreditation. But thank you so much for submitting in this round.
Steph, can I also mention for this maker to make sure that they're submitting their SOOCs too, especially with the ones with children or on props?
Yes, thank you, Lisa. That's an incredibly important point as well. So that did come up, that in particular in images 9 and 10, as well as image number 4, it would be preferable to see an SOOC with that support person who is spotting for these scenarios or providing support. I know in image number 4, we have parents, around and holding baby. And just to enlarge this image and discuss it for a moment, we did have this discussion as well that baby is supported by dad's chest. The hands are a little bit out in front, so baby is leaning back on the chest. However, being so upright in this way and able to slump, we do worry about positional asphyxiation for babies in car seats that aren't buckled in, and it's just for the reason that the chin can come down and approximate or come into contact with the chest, which cuts off the airway a bit. I'm sure in these instances, we're not posing for extended periods of time in these setups, but it might just be preferable to lean baby to the side, to ensure that we're not slumping and creating that approximation between chin and chest for any period of time. It's just, we're always looking for what is safest, and can look a little bit more comfortable as well for babes, since standing upright is a bit unnatural at this age. So just that quick commentary. But yes, thank you, Lisa, for bringing that up. All right, welcome everyone back for day 2 of our first round of accreditation judging in the year 2025. Today I have Amanda Capello, Katie Lintern, and Sarah Lake back with me for judging. And we will swiftly move right along into maker number 10. This is a resubmission in the category of newborn posed. So just looking at our gallery of images here, we will be evaluating 4 images today. They are images number 2, 3, 4, and 11. And I'll give our judges a moment to enter overall scores.
I'm done.
All right. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this resubmission will not be accepted. Amanda, which images would you like to review?
2 and 3.
Thank you. Katie, do you have any images you would like to add?
Primarily 3, but we can have a look at 2 as well. I agree with Amanda.
Yep. And Sarah?
The same ones, 2 and 3.
Okay, fantastic. We'll move into image number 2.
Sorry, I meant 2 and 4. That's my bad.
No problem. We'll look at 2, 3, and 4. All right. So following along with image number 2, please feel free to enter your scores. All right, and we have two not accepted, one accepted. Currently, this image will not be accepted. Okay, and without a challenge, the image will not be accepted. Let's go to Amanda, please, for commentary.
Sure. Just just a couple minor things. I think just the whites are a little bit blown, specifically in the headband and on the baby's back where the crease of the dress is catching the light. So my eye is just getting pulled there. A couple bright highlights on the baby's face, specifically like the nose. Um, and then the blanket in the front portion of the image is brighter. It's drawing my eye there too. So like the pinks could have been maybe painted a little bit to blend a little less bright. That's just being picky on the front, but more so the blown highlights were the issue for me. And then also just the slightest bit of like purple. I think sometimes it happens in the lenses, like there's like a purple line on the top of the headband. And if you go into like Lightroom and you select, I think it's called CA, and I don't know what it stands for. I'm drawing a blank, something calibration, something, I can't remember. And it'll basically like, if there's like a purple hue or a green hue that's getting pulled just from the lens, you can click on the purple line and it will take that from the image. So I'm just seeing that on the top edge of the headband there.
All right, thank you so much. And we will move now to image number 3. And please feel free to enter your scores. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. And let's go to Katie, please, for commentary for this maker.
Thank you. I was just going to comment that the pose is so close. It's almost there. The baby is adorable. There's a couple of things that I would really focus on with this pose and this particular shot. So for me, there's a bit of a lighting issue here. The baby's face is actually one of the darker parts of the image, which should really be the opposite. So you really want to make sure that you finesse your lighting such that the face is actually the brighter area of the image. Right now, my eye is drawn to the baby's bum, which is a little bit brighter, the bottom right of the image, which is brighter. And then, of course, this is a more of a personal taste issue, but in terms of the headband, it's so large that it's quite overpowering and it draws attention to the headband versus the baby's face. And then finally, in this pose, sometimes it's tricky, but I would just try to work those fingers out from under the baby's chin. That's minor, but it's the lighting for me that is kind of throwing the colors off a little bit as well and making the baby look a little bit blue, purple in some areas. And then again, that face is not highlighted. So.
Thank you so much. And we'll move to our last image, number 4. And with 1 score of not accepted and 2 scores of accepted, this image will currently be accepted.
I won't challenge, but if I can just offer some critique for this maker.
Of course.
The reason why I wanted to pull this one up originally, just with the other one that we looked at, is because the whites are a little bit blown here as well, specifically in the bottom right corner. I'm sure that's where your light source is coming from, falls a little bit like flat on the baby, feathering that way. So just turning the baby a little bit more towards that light source will feather the light kind of down the baby a little bit more, and then hopefully won't blow out the front corner of your image. Although if you do find that it's like really bright, then you can always in Photoshop just kind of like lightly brush over with low opacity one of the, like the, say the top corner, the white color in the top corner, just brush it over a little bit and mask it off the baby, and then you won't have that blown corner, because anything that's super bright is going to be drawing your eye there, and that's where my eye is being drawn, just because it's such a large area. And then there's like a deep shadow where the baby is from the bean bag, and kind of like that like little nook or cranny that you built for the baby to kind of lay in or be cradled in, just gives that shadow. And on the very edge of that shadow, there's some blue color banding happening. So just keep an eye out for that as well.
Thank you so much. So we'll return to gallery. So 2 of these submitted images for resubmission have passed today for accreditation. So 10 out of 12 images passing for accreditation. And we would definitely love to see this maker back for those last 2 images. And hopefully that the commentary has been helpful in terms of making those corrections and coming back again. But a strong submission, and congratulations on 10 accepted images in this round. All right, moving to our next maker. This is in the category of newborn posed.
May I ask if there are any SOOCs for this submission?
Yes, of course. I don't see any here with the submission at this time.
Thank you.
So in particular, I'm guessing you're wondering for images 11 and 12?
Yes, and then the image with the sibling as well.
The twins or the one where they're laying on their backs?
My apologies, sorry, it would be image number, I believe it's number 6 with the older brother, I'm assuming.
Okay.
And possibly the one with the twins too, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Do any of our judges need extra time? If not, if you could just hit your saved prompt once more. Thank you. And we have 3 scores of not accepted. Sarah, are there 5 or more or less than 5 images you would like to review?
I believe it is 5.
Okay. And which numbers would you like to see?
Number 5, I believe it is. 5. 7 and 8, and then 11 and 12.
5, 7, 8, 11, and 12. Thank you. Katie, do you have any numbers to add?
Same numbers, but I would actually add number 3 to that as well, please.
3, 5, 7, 8, 11, and 12. And Amanda?
Mine were 3, 4, 5, and hold on, there was another one. And 8, and then the propped ones and the twin ones, just because they don't have the SOCs.
Yes, no problem. So far 3, 4, 5, and then 7, 8, 11, 12. All right, we will head into image number 3. Looking for individual scores, please. All right, and do any of our judges need additional time, or can we click our saved prompt once more, please? Thank you. And with 2 scores of not accepted, 1 of accepted, this image currently will not be accepted.
I think I'd like to challenge for this one.
All right, thank you. And we will head to Sarah first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
For this image here, I think it's nicely composed, and I believe the lighting is really soft and flattering on baby. And I think the color tones are all really nice as well. I did notice on this image that, and I don't believe it's a lighting issue. I think that the maker took the smoothing on baby's face a little bit too far, to the point at which baby's the dimension is almost lost on the face. So I do notice that, and I would encourage them to maybe hold back the skin smoothing a little bit to keep the dimension in baby's face. Too much almost makes it look flat, almost like a 2D kind of object, and you want that dimension. However, I don't believe, I believe because of the posing and the angle of baby's face, that's all very flattering, and the lighting is soft. I don't believe that that would hold it back from accreditation, but the skin smoothing is definitely something to keep in mind for the future. But I do think that it's strong enough in those other areas that I feel like it would pass accreditation.
All right, and we will head to Amanda for critique, please.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying. In fact, the composition I absolutely love. I think the maker did a great job with that. I think, and this one was one of the ones that I was on the fence for, to be honest. But the reason why I marked it non-accepted was because of the over skin smoothing. It just takes every detail out of the baby's face. And as an overall collection with the maker's other work, it just didn't seem to quite fit. Like, so as an accreditation, if I was a client, would I be certain that this is what I'm going to be getting, or some of the other images, you know, where the baby's not over smoothed and not over done, and you know, the highlights are still kept and things like that instead of crushed like this one. So I just felt like maybe it was just a little bit too overdone, maybe just a little bit too much for accreditation, in my opinion.
All right, thank you. And we'll go back to Sarah, please, for a rebuttal.
That's actually a good point that Amanda had in regards to the entire gallery as a whole, because I feel like there's a lot of strengths in this gallery. So this does, I wouldn't disagree with her that this does stand out in those terms. For some reason, just this one in particular image seems over smoothed. So in terms of consistency in the entire gallery, I do see her point, and that this one does stand out in that regard. So although in maybe like a print competition and something like that, it may be scored differently. I do see her point in that it diminishes the consistency of the gallery a little bit.
All right. So at this point, we will rescore our images. So please feel free to refresh your screens and re-enter scores now. Do any of our judges need additional time, or if you can, please feel free to click save one more time. All right, thank you. And with 2 scores of not accepted, 1 score of accepted, this image will not be accepted in this round of accreditation. All right. Moving back to our gallery. And we will now go to image number 4. And please feel free to enter scores. All right, and with 2 scores of not accepted, 1 score of accepted, this image currently will not be accepted.
I feel I'd like to challenge this as well.
All right, no problem. We'll go in the benefit of the maker with Sarah first, please.
I think this image overall the composition is really nice, and I feel like the colors work, the green and the creamy tones, and baby most importantly looks very comfortable here, being flat on his back. Um, and I think the lighting on his face is really nice. I do see that there are some highlights that um, may be kind of eking towards being a little too bright on his hands and on his feet. But from my viewpoint on my screen, I don't see that they're blown out. So that is definitely something to watch for. But I feel like overall, this image with the really pleasing light on baby's face, I feel as if this one would pass. So unless there is some indication, Stephanie, of the the file, if not sure if other judges are seeing clipped highlights or not, blown out highlights, but in my screen, I don't see them, but I think overall this image would pass.
Just to confirm, no, I'm not seeing the blown highlights on the high resolution file. And we will go to Katie, please, for critique.
Thank you. May I actually ask a question before we proceed?
Yes, just a moment. All right, so a question came up about SOOC for this type of setup, and some of the discussion that we have had thus far is that some of the time when babies are in a bowl prop, especially if they are wrapped, laying, kind of on their back in a bowl prop, in the past, sometimes those images have passed for accreditation without an SOOC. However, there was some discussion here that, baby is not wrapped in this instance. So if they were to startle with the Moro reflex or startle reflex, they could potentially shift their weight in the prop. And then also, it's unclear whether or not the bottom of this bowl is a round bottom with a small flat surface, or if it's a larger, flatter surface on the bottom. So hard to tell if the bowl is tippy or not. So that's some of the discussion that we were having just behind camera there as to how to critique the image. So did you ladies want to share some of your thoughts on SOCs for this setup?
Yeah,
Sure.
I can sort of pipe in. I know it's sort of started to add my feedback here, but I do think that uh, I would like to see straight out of camera again, just because it's not clear what kind of prop this is. Um, we can only guess, right? Because judging by how far the leaves are from the foreground, but it's really difficult to tell without knowing. So I would prefer to see an SOC for this image.
And if I could add too, I agree with Katie. And initially, because of the lighting and the posing, this is a really lovely image. I believe that in and of itself, image wise and exposure wise, would pass. But now that I'm looking, even though baby isn't vertical or upright in any way, the for this image, the risk would be in that prop. And the more I look at the bottom, I am beginning to wonder that it might be a round bowl that can roll or tip to one side. And so I think in this case, because it's not visible, I really am wanting to see that SOOC as well to show what kind of prop this is and that baby was kept safe and kept from rolling.
Yeah, I would agree. And so, we've heard from Sarah on some of the positives of the image. We've heard some critique regarding safety. I wanted to just give Katie an opportunity in case there was anything else that she wanted to add in terms of critique before we go back to the rebuttal.
Um, and generally, I would agree with Sarah just on the highlights there. For me, that that is detracting a little bit. Again, I'm going to say that this is otherwise a really beautiful composition. You know, the colors are great, and I love the baby's pose and a little bit of that cheeky smile. So it's a nice capture. But I would really watch and play down those highlights on baby's like right leg there, just above the foot, and then the both hands seem to be much brighter to me, even if the highlights are not blown out. It draws the eye, and even the fur on the left hand side looks brighter than the baby's face. So that is maybe a matter of lifting the light a little bit and angling it a bit differently. But it is that's that's a one bit of feedback that I would certainly give yeah, to the maker.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we will head back to Sarah, please, for rebuttal.
I think I would agree again with Katie in the highlights. And again, am have to judge based on what I see here. And on my screen, I didn't see the highlights clip, but it is definitely something to keep in mind, especially when baby's bottom is closest to the light instead of their face. You have the tendency to have those hot spots on their feet or their toes or their legs, whatever it is. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. You don't want to lose the definition of the toes, and or other, extremities or anything on the baby. So I absolutely agree with that. I still really do. I love the image, and I do wish that we had some SOOCs to ensure that this was a bowl that was completely safe to pose baby in this manner when they're unwrapped. But yeah, I think overall it's a strong image with just some things to work on and kind of ensure for next time.
All right. Thank you so much. And so at this point, we will rescore this image. So please, judges, go ahead and refresh your screens. And then please do enter your scores and click your saved prompt several times. All right, and if you can all refresh your screens and re-enter your scores and click that saved prompt several times again, please. Thank you. So with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted at this time. We'll head back to our gallery and have a look at image number 5. So to our judges, please feel free to enter your scores. All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted in this round. Let's head to Amanda, please, for some commentary.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is such a beautiful image of the mom, super sweet, peaceful kind of smile, her little dimple, and then the baby also sweet little smile and dimple. Um, the main issue for me with this image is not the pose, but rather the lighting. So it appears that there's quite a few blown spots on mom's face, arm, hand, um, and baby as well, kind of face. So I'd like to see just a little bit softer light, that feathers just a little bit more. And if we are trying to get that bright white backdrop, um, achieving that with maybe like if say I'm not sure, but say the shadows were too dark on the backside of mom, then maybe just like a V flat back there or something that will bounce the light to fill it. That way you don't have to overpower mom's face, because that's the most important, is to keep the face properly exposed on in the arm, obviously. So the skin and the subject, keep them properly exposed. Um as well as, the backdrop as well. So if we need to fill that light on the backside so that way we're not blowing out the front side, that would be an option here. But I would just say, yeah, overall beautiful pose, beautiful moment, just a little bit on the blown side for me.
All right, thank you. Looking now at image number 7. All right, and if I can get everyone to please save their scores again. Thank you. With 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Let's head to Sarah, please, for feedback for this maker.
Sure, thanks. I think it just the initial impression that I get is just beautiful soft lighting, sweet little twins. It's really precious, and this is so close to passing because it's beautifully lit, and the composition is lovely, and the fall off in the back is beautiful. Unfortunately, without seeing any straight out of camera shots as OCs, there's no way to ensure that the baby, little sibling, I'm assuming little smaller one on the back, is spotted and safe from startling and possibly rolling off of his siblings or his or her siblings back. So that's essential in this case to ensure that the babies were kept safe at all times and spotted nearby. So unfortunately, without seeing that, it's just unable to pass, which it really is. I do hope that the maker will be able to provide the images because this is beautiful. If I can mention the tiniest thing, I do see, and I didn't notice it previously, but I notice now in kind of a vertical line, just in editing that hasn't been cloned out. It's very, very minor, but that's just one more way to elevate a really beautiful image. And assuming we have the SOCs, then hopefully would be able to pass it next time.
Thank you so much. And we'll head to image number 8. All right, and with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. We will head to Katie, please, for some commentary.
Thank you. This image was so close for me. I think it's beautiful. The baby's beautiful, and the colors are lovely. The only thing really here is that the baby is uplit. So, if you move your light to the left side of the frame, I feel like this image would probably pass, right? And for me, just the uplighting is the thing that I can't pass it just because of that reason. Um, you can see that the highlights are stronger on the baby's hands. And so, all of that can be remedied just by moving the light to the other side or flipping the baby over to the other side. So that is my feedback for this meeting.
Thank you very much. All right. And we will look now at image number 11. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Let's head to Amanda, please.
Sure. So this image is beautifully done. The baby is sweetly posed, and the maker certainly has a strong sense of composition and, colors and creating sets. Just throughout not only this image, but throughout their collection of images. That seems to be one of their strengths. For me, the only reason why this one couldn't possibly pass is because we don't have a straight out of camera image to go with it, showing that there was a spotter sitting next to the baby. So we would just need an image with somebody's hand in the frame, and or a picture pull back of like someone sitting right next to the baby. And then you can edit out that hand for your final image to submit. But just a straight out of camera that shows that this position was safely done and baby was supported and spotted.
Okay, thank you so much. And we will go to image number 12. And if our judges could save their scores again, thank you. Okay, and this image will not be accepted. Let's go to Katie, please, for feedback.
Thank you. yeah, for me, this image is really, really pretty. I love the styling. The lighting is nice. Um, you know, this would be a passing image for me if it had an accompanying straight out of camera image showing the spotter. That's really, really the only issue here. So yeah, if the maker can provide a straight out of camera image, I think we would pass this. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So some great feedback for this maker, I think, and many images passed in this round of accreditation. So congratulations to the maker on those. And yeah, we would look forward to having you back and seeing you attempt a resubmission here. I think that you have a lot of really strong images and definitely coming back and trying again would be great. We will check in regarding SOOCs to see if those images can be passed for this round, as mentioned in some previous submissions as well. Okay, moving to our last submission for this round of accreditation. Again, we are in the category of newborn posed, 12 images here. And I do see that there are SOOCs present. So I will show those now for working with twins.
Stephanie, are those the only two SOOC images submitted?
These appear to be the only two SOOC images in this submission at this time. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And with 3 scores of not accepted, the submission will not be accepted in this round. Sarah, are there 5 or more or less than 5?
I believe less than 5.
Okay. Image numbers?
Bear with me, I'm sorry. 3,
Yep.
6, and 11. And yeah, 11.
Okay, thank you. Amanda, any to add?
I think those were the same for me as well.
3, 6, and 11. Okay. And Katie?
Yeah, those are the same ones for me.
3, 6, and 11. Okay. Yeah, we do have SOOC for the twins. Okay. Let's head into image number 3. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Sarah, will head to you.
Okay, thank you. This, unfortunately, without seeing any straight out of camera shots, that truly is the only reason that for me that this prohibit this from going forward through accreditation for passing. The lighting's beautiful, the expression is adorable, the composition and angle are lovely. I think even the coloring with the green wrap, it works. It's just really, really sweet. I just I love the fact that he's smiling or she's smiling in the Grinchy outfit. It's just really adorable. So the only thing really holding this back, I believe, from passing is the absence of that straight out of camera image. And reason being, I didn't mention, is because baby is quite elevated. Their head is quite elevated. There looks to be 1, 2, 3 little pillow-like layers under its head, which even though he or she is wrapped, there is the potential to roll off those layers, which is a safety hazard. So hopefully there is a straight out of camera shot showing an adult nearby spotting baby, having their hand very close to keep their head from moving. So hopefully if that can be submitted, I believe this image would pass.
Thank you so much. And we'll head back to our gallery. Looking at image number 6. I would just ask our judges to click the saved prompt once more, please. Thank you. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Let's go to Amanda, please.
Just kind of echoing the last image as well, and I think kind of across the board, without the straight out of camera images with props or with a toddler that could easily lift that bed and flip it, the baby would be in danger. So it's important to have the straight out of camera images to show that this pose was done safely, that somebody was there sitting, an adult, next to the bed, supporting the baby, and just, having a watchful eye directly on the baby with a hand nearby in case, this boy was to try to lift the bed. Also, and or done as a composite where we have one picture of just the boy in the bed and then one picture of just the baby in the bed, and then those 2 images were composited together. That would be another way to do this image safely, but without any straight out of cameras, we're not certain how it was done or if it was done safely.
All right, thank you so much. And moving to image number 11. And with 3 scores of not accepted, this image will not be accepted. Let's head to Sarah, please.
Sure. This, along with the previous one, really is only held back by the absence of an SOOC to show that baby was spotted nearby to keep her head from possibly rolling one way or the other. So this really is, the lighting is beautiful. The color tones are really pretty. I think the styling's nice. The composition's really lovely, and the perspective or angle really draws you into baby's face. So just on a lighting note, the maker will want to kind of watch for hot highlights on the face, on the nose. But I don't believe they're blown out here. But overall, it's a really lovely image that just needs to have the accompanying images to show that it was completed safely. And if I can add also, in tall props like these buckets, where the majority of baby's body weight is going to be on the upper half, it's really important to counterweight the bottom of the props as well. So, of course, the straight out of camera image showing that they were spotted is essential for passing accreditation, but also just for future reference for other makers as well. It's important to counterweight the bottom of props such as this so that there is no danger of tipping over.
Thank you so much. That is a great point, and definitely an important one. I always kind of, when I was teaching safety, would let my clients know that if you think about, your base of support, it's the same thing with these props. So if I were to be standing on 2 feet spread widely apart, I'd be much harder to knock over than if I'm standing on 1 foot just on my tippy toes. So the smaller your base of support is, the narrower it is, the more risk there is of tippiness. And when you look at these buckets, they are usually tapered a little. So the bottom of the bucket is much narrower than that top opening there. So it's a really great point on top of having your spotters, definitely to counterweight. So thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. I think that's really pertinent here. Congratulations to this maker on several images making it through this round of accreditation. As well, it sounds like if we have SOOCs present that this submission will pass. So hopeful that those are somewhere in your archives that we can have you send those over for review. We do take safety seriously here, so we want to make sure that all of our babies are being properly spotted. And though we'd love to take our maker's word for it, we really do need to see those SOOCs here for the purpose of accreditation. All right, that brings us to the end of this round of accreditation judging. Lisa was not able to join us today, but she was active for all 9 other submissions out of 12. We do try to rotate our judges in and out so that we have an equal amount of input from each judge on our panel. I would like to personally thank all of 4 of our judges, including Lisa, for your efforts in this round of accreditation. Your feedback is extremely valuable, especially when it includes suggestions for how that maker can improve or, get past whatever is holding back those images. I want to commend everyone that applied for accreditation in this round, and special mention to those of you who came back for a resubmission. It's tough to put yourself out there in the first place, and sometimes when you want something really badly, it's tough to hear the feedback and to perhaps find out that there was some critique for some of your images. I have been through the process myself. I've gone through this with other associations, as well as throwing in some blind submissions here at APNPI. And I can tell you that I understand that feeling and that pain. It's salt in the wound. But what I can say, at least in my experience, was I vehemently disagreed in the moment. And then given myself a bit of time to review and to think things over, I did find value in the commentary. And I could see, the points that were made, came from eyes that were free from, the experience of the making of the image. And so it's really important to try to consider how people view your artwork as well as the process of making it. And when you are the maker, you have all these extra emotions and feelings attached to either the client, the situation, the moment at which that image was taken. And sometimes we can't see what others see without that background information. But truly, we are, as photographers, presenting imagery that is telling stories to the world. And I think it's really important to consider how those are viewed by others, not only ourselves. And so I appreciate you putting yourselves out there for accreditation in this round, and allowing us to look at your images and to provide you with critique and suggestions for improvement. Um, I would highly encourage anyone who didn't pass this round of accreditation to come back and resubmit. You can use the APNPI group to, preview some of your images and ask for input from our members. We do have some active judges that are in that group as well that may offer some feedback. They may or may not be on the judging panel for your next round of application, but it's always valuable to get a little bit of feedback ahead of time, um, and maybe make some changes to either your selection of images or the image editing. But we do, hope that you come back, and we're really excited to see your growth if you do. So that's kind of the one consistent thing that I will say about this process is having chaired each accreditation thus far. Um, Seeing the quality of the submissions improve as a whole over time has been really amazing to see. So the skill level in our membership is increasing. People's experience and abilities are improving. So as a whole, seeing that is amazing. But then it's also really rewarding to see those who have gone away from this process, maybe unsatisfied, and have come back with their resubmissions, and to see the growth in their work is very exciting. Just to see those improvements as they put those suggestions into place. I would recommend, if you're looking to pass accreditation, watch these broadcasts. Go and see how the accreditations are judged. See the commentary that the panel is giving to other makers. Watch all 12 submissions in this round, and you'll be able to start to see some of the things that judges are looking for, some of the things that are automatically going to result in not accepted, a score of not accepted, and possibly even some of the things that are attractive to our judges and can lead to accepted with merit submissions. So I'd encourage you guys to go and view that. Try to look through as much of that as you have time for, and learn from it, as we all do. So every time that I run one of these panels, I'm learning even more about this industry, about photography in general, and about working with babies and about our membership. And so I find it very valuable. I really want to thank our judges for being very cognizant of safety and looking for those SOOCs in all of our submissions. I appreciate you and your viewpoint, and being so cognizant of the safety aspect. It's a big deal for us here at APNPI. So I love to see when our judges are on board, and they're also minded in that way. And this entire panel has been this whole time. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And to those of you who submitted beautiful imagery that didn't pass due to the lack of an SOOC, I hope you have those images. Please connect with us. Please send those in. I'd love to pass as many images as we can alongside those SOOCs showing safety practices. And for anyone looking to submit in the future, please include your SOC images for anything with twins, especially posed together, or on top of or with each other, please submit them for most of or all of your prop poses. If you want to, ensure it's going to pass and ensure that, safety won't be the thing to hold you back, any prop pose is a good one that you can submit your SOOC images for. And then young siblings with their, newly baby edition is a great one to have just some context as to how you set that up and who was nearby. Because we all know our little people are unpredictable. um, I want to thank our judges. Do any of you have any feedback or thoughts for the makers or our membership?
If I may just add a suggestion, and I think you've already mentioned this, I think it's really important to use the group because, especially in advance of accreditation or image competition, to really just, post your images and ask a question like, would this pass? Or do you have any feedback? And again, like the judges are in the group and some of us will be happy to offer feedback. So it's really, the group is there. It's a resource. Use it for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. I would say the one thing about image competition, if you have something that is unique, that is very eye-catching, you might want to reserve it and not post in the group, only because impact is part of your score for image competition. And yeah, and oftentimes when something is a good and creative idea, we see it replicated in the industry. This happened to a member of ours, and when it came time for image competition, she submitted this beautiful image, and we had two others of the same setup also submitted to the same round of accreditation, same pose, same prop, all of it. And yeah, they had posted it to social media ahead of time. So it does reduce your impact score sometimes, especially if it's something, really eye-catching, or fresh and new perspective or idea. So for those, you may want to ask for feedback individually from someone reaching out to, some of the members in our that are in either our judging panel or in the group, or just put a post in the group saying, hey, I have a couple of images I'd really like to run by someone for feedback. I'm just wondering if there's anyone that would be, willing to look them over for me. That's another way you can do that without sharing them directly. But for accreditation, I think, sharing of images is great. As much feedback as you can get is probably a good idea. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I would just like to say congratulations to all of the makers who submitted for doing what a lot of us are too afraid to do, to put yourself out there. That in and of itself is such a huge step. And I'm really impressed the people who might be nervous or scared to do it, but do it anyway. It's just it's something to be commended and admired. So if for any reason your submission didn't pass today, do not give up. Keep at it. You've taken the first step, which really is the hardest. So yeah, I think way to go to everyone for putting themselves out there and doing something really important.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, you can put it on your website. You can list, accredited in from APNPI, just for your own learning as well. Accreditations are great. You can print out I think there's a little paper that we give you. You can print that and frame it and keep it in your studio. I had a friend who actually had accumulated 11 accreditations with another organization. They were all framed in her studio. It was so impressive to see. And so that's, a great way that you can showcase as well your accreditations. But Sarah, you're spot on. The first step is definitely the hardest. And please, we hope that you come back if you did not attain accreditation today. Everyone had wonderful work. I mean, I don't think there were any submissions that were super far off. I think everyone is, just within the tiniest little margin of achieving their accreditation. So it would be lovely to see people come back and to be successful with that. Any thoughts, Amanda? Not to put you on the spot.
I know, I was like, dang, I better think of something everybody else is saying to me. But I really truly believe like what everyone else said too. Like we're all here to help. I've been through it as well, submitted my stuff for accreditation, and any feedback is great feedback. So put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. I agree with you. Like all the submissions today were not very far off. So take the little tips and try again. Or even honestly, thinking back as I'm reflecting on some of these, like honestly, just a little re-edit of the image probably would have passed it. So maybe some people don't even have to do another whole session, or they can just go back and make the tweak on their image that they've already submitted, and fix some of the highlights or bring down the exposure a little bit or whatever, if it's savable, for some of those blown highlight ones or whatever the case is, or if there's like little banding issues or whatever, and then go ahead and resubmit it. I bet you it would pass. So yeah, no one was very far off. Everyone, did a great job, and submitting is half the battle, like you guys said. So fully agree.
All right. We thank everyone for joining us today. And sorry, I'm losing my voice. We'll see everyone back for image competition. Apologies, I just had a dry spot in my throat there. But yeah, our next event will be image competition. So we would definitely encourage those of you interested in applying to enter your work. I think submitting to image competition can be easier and harder. Easier in the sense that it's individual images, not a selection of 12. Harder in the sense that awards start at a mark of 80 and above. So especially if you achieved accreditation with merit today, please take our feedback from our makers and consider submitting for image competition. Not our makers, from our judges, I'm sorry. And consider submitting for image competition. Your judges will have indicated that they believe your image could score 80 or above. And so there are several different award levels at image competition, including silver, silver distinction, gold, gold distinction, and platinum. So you can be awarded in any of those categories. And additionally, we do select first, second, and third placings for each category based on score and judge feedback for tiebreakers when the scores are equivalent. We have too many in the same placing, then our judges will select the images that place first, second, and third. So we would invite you to participate in that upcoming event. There will be one more round of accreditation in 2025. We run 2 events yearly, one in the spring and one in the fall. So if you are looking to complete a resubmission, that would be a great time. And otherwise, you can also always submit to another category or for your first accreditation. So we welcome our membership to consider applying for that. All right, I want to thank our judging panel for being with us both today and last week. I really appreciate all of your input. I hope you know how valuable you are to our organization and to our members. You guys have beautiful, beautiful, stunning work. If any of our makers are interested, they can go and look at these beautiful photographers' work. Just lovely, and it's an inspiration to have you on this panel and hear your input. And we would welcome you all back. I think you did a wonderful job today. All right, thank you to our makers and our membership for watching, and have a great day, everyone.